Using the OpenAI's newly released Agents SDK, you can easily build multi-agents in Python, just like using Python frameworks like LangChain, CrewAI, or Agno. Once you use the Agents SDK to build multi-agents, you can also monitor their performance or trace their performance through your OpenAI dashboard. Also, using the OpenAI Agents SDK, you are not limited to only OpenAI models. So in this video, we are going to create a local DeepSeek R1 agent using the OpenAI Agents SDK and run the agent through Ollama. After running our OpenAI agent locally using Ollama and DeepSeek R1, we will also build a Streamlit interface to interact with the agent through our local host. So to get started, you will need to install Streamlit with this command, pip install Streamlit. Next, we will go to the Ollama website and you need to download Ollama. We are going to use one of the distilled versions of DeepSeek R1. I have already downloaded the DeepSeek R1 Distilled Llama 8P model. First, I will copy this command and run it in the command line without using the OpenAI Agents SDK. So I'll bring the terminal. I have Ollama already installed. To check whether Ollama is successfully installed, we just need to enter Ollama and press the return key. Over here, we have a list of information about the installation. We can also check the particular version of Ollama with Ollama -- version. So I have the version 0.6.0. Let's clear everything from the terminal. I will paste the command here. Since I have this distilled version of the DeepSeek R1 model already installed on my machine, after pressing the return key, we can immediately start chatting with the model. However, running this command for the first time on your machine, it is going to pull the model from Ollama and install it on your machine before you will be able to chat with the model. So now we can enter any prompt and send it. So whenever you run this command for the first time, the installation will take about 5 to 10 minutes to download the 8B. Since we want to run the DeepSeek R1 model locally, by creating an OpenAI agent, I will go to Cursor. Over here, I have already created a project. So we have two examples, local DeepSeek Ollama OpenAI agent.py and local DeepSeek OpenAI Streamlit agent.py. So first, with this file, we run the agent through the command line. You can test the code in both files by downloading them from GitHub. I will add a link to the description of the video. So in this file, we need to make the necessary imports. We add asyncio to handle response streaming. Then we import agent, runner, and OpenAI chat completion from agents. The runner class allows you to run your OpenAI agent. Next, we define our local agent using OpenAI's chat completion model. So over here, we specify only two parameters, the model we want to use. You have noticed we are using the DeepSeek R1 model, the distilled version we obtained from Ollama. So if I go to the website, you have noticed here that is the same name, DeepSeek R1 8B. Next, to be able to run the DeepSeek R1 model via Ollama, we need to specify the base URL. So we add this base URL to the local model's definition. Then over here, we create our agent using the OpenAI's Agent SDK. To create an agent, we need to use the agents class. It has additional properties, but for this example, we need only two properties, the name of the agent and the instructions it has to use. Also, you have noticed here, we have added an optional parameter that is model. With the model parameter, you can specify the model you want to use. If we remove this line, that points to our local model. By default, the agent will use GPT-4o. However, in this example, we want to use our local model, that is DeepSeek R1. Next, we define this async streaming function to handle the user prompt and iterate over response events. Lastly, over here, we add the main execution block. So we can go to the terminal and run the file. So you have noticed that we are having a streaming effect, and also the model is going through a long chain of thought before giving the final answer. since we are using the DeepSeek R1 reasoning model. So that is how to create our streaming OpenAI agent using DeepSeek R1 and Ollama. With this example, we run the agent through the command line. So over here, we have the agent start process, and as I scroll down, we have the generated Swift UI code, and also an explanation to the code. In the next example, we want to interact with our local DeepSeek R1 agent using the OpenAI Agents SDK through a Streamlit interface. After installing Streamlit, as I showed you in the beginning of this video, we make all these imports. So these are the imports we added previously. And in this example, we import Streamlit as well. Then we define our local model just like previously. We specify the model we want to use, that is DeepSeek R1, and also specify the base URL. Next, we create our agent using the agent class of the OpenAI Agents SDK by adding the same parameters as the previous example. Next, we set up the Streamlit interface by specifying the title of the page and its description. Then we create a user input using Streamlit's text area to receive the user query. Like the previous example, we create an async response streaming function that sends the user prompt to the agent using the runner class and the run function. When using the OpenAI Agents SDK, there are three ways you can run your agents. First, you can use runner.run, which is an async method, or use runner.runSync, which is a synchronous method. In our example, we are using the third option, runner.runStreamed, which calls the local DeepSeek R1 model in streaming mode. So using the runner class along with runStreamed and also asyncio, we are able to stream the output generation of the agent. Let's go back to the code. The last interface element we add is a button to handle the submission of the prompt. So this is everything we need to do to create our local Streamlit interface to run the DeepSeek R1 model via Ollama in our OpenAI agent. You can find a link to this code in the description of the video. Let's go to the terminal and run the file. To run a Streamlit app, we need to use the command streamlit run, followed by the file name. Over here, we have the file name to be local DeepSeek OpenAI Streamlit agent.py. So I'll add it here and press the return key. That launches our local Streamlit interface in the browser at port 8501. So over here, we can enter any prompt and submit it. One thing you have to bear in mind is, when we run the model this way, we are not able to track the performance, like I showed in the beginning of this video, by going to your OpenAI dashboard and look for the agent traces. So we have a nice streaming animation when generating response from the agent. So this is everything we have in this video. I have shown you how to set up a local AI agent using the OpenAI Agents SDK, a distilled version of DeepSeek R1, and using Ollama.